Hi, I'm Ryan with Front End Audio, and this is the new Enigmatic amp emulation pedal from Universal Audio. It is, as they call it, an 82 Overdrive Special Amp Emulation, or, well, really it's a D-style Overdrive amp emulation, so I think you can probably put two and two together of what amp it is emulating, where it draws its inspiration from. I will admit that this is my favorite of all their amp emulation pedals and among my favorites across the entire line of the UAFX pedals. We're going to take a look at it out of the box and go over why it's so cool. I'm not going to dive too much into all the little details of the features because you can honestly read it yourself. I just want to go over the basics, what you're going to expect from a UAFX pedal that this includes, and what sets this apart, all the cool features that it has. On the rear of the unit, let's look at that first. You're going to have your 9-volt power supply input here. It does utilize a Boss style barrel connector, standard 9-volt. We sell the external power supplies separately. This is the official Universal Audio UAFX power supply for a single pedal. You can get those at frontendaudioDesign.com. And of course, if you utilize a power supply for a pedal board, such as the Power Max from Eventide, which is what I personally use and we sell here at Front End Audio, that works perfectly great as well. Other features on the rear of the unit also include your USB port for software updates. You also see that you have your multiple ins and outs because it does function in mono and stereo, which is a really cool feature of it. And then you also have your pair button for pairing to a smart device like a phone or tablet via Bluetooth so that you can have remote control of this pedal. I'll be honest with you, I never touched that. Didn't have to. I had the pedal on. I booted up the app. I saw that the pedal was there. I selected the pedal. It said, "Do you want to pair?" I said, "Yes." It just paired, like immediately. Like I didn't have to touch the button on this pedal. So I don't know if they streamlined that function, that whole setup process, but very, very easy to pair this with my phone and get digging into all the cool features that it has. Now you have on the front of the unit your 6 different control knobs. All but this knob have an alternate function, so you can put this middle toggle switch to the top and control the alternate functions, such as additional features on the EQ or blending in some room tone, things of that nature, or your ratio. And then you can set it to your amp, and then that goes to your core features such as volume, boost, or drive output, and then your 3-band EQ. You do have your selection for your different cabinets, and then you do have 2 stacks that you can choose from, a rock, jazz, and then a custom actually is what you do. That's for your presets, but the 2 stacks is rock and jazz, and it just gives you a little bit different gain structure. But very cool features right there, a lot to go through. In the software, you actually have 4 different preamps to choose from, and they actually simulate sag. So you have some preamps that are tighter and some that are a little bit sloppier, and it gives you a little bit different feel, and it's actually cool that they get that feel down right. There's also filter cap adjustments. So that's a very neat thing. This becomes a tweaker's pedal, which is why this has become my favorite amp emulation pedal that they make. Because my main amp at home is a Marshall JCM 900 SLX. I can go anywhere from clean jazz to gritty blues to that 1970s AC/DC sound to that mid-80s thrash metal sound to an outright in-your-face guttural death metal sound. I mean, that amp just covers everything. And I can do that with this. That's the thing that really impressed me. You want to do that 1970s, Dirty Deeds tone from AC/DC? This can give it to you. You want to do that 1980s thrash metal sound? It will give it to you. You want to get 1990s guttural, heavy, dark, sludgy, obituary, the incomplete sound? It will do this for you. That's what's cool about this pedal. And this has become one of the, really as far as like amp emulations go, and I own 4 guitar amps and 3 preamps. They're all tube based. I love my analog tube amplifiers. But there are some emulations or processors that I do respect. But as far as something that is accessible, easily accessible to everybody, because this is not outrageously expensive, This is, I think, the first easily accessible amp emulator that I used and said, if I'm going guitar into this, right out of this, into my interface, nothing else, just straight into the interface and recording this alone. This is the first amp emulation pedal that I was like, I could use this and get a tone that I'm happy with. So very, very impressive for sure with this, you know, and again, with the app, it was easy to set up. It was easy to dive into it and be able to adjust different parameters. I highly recommend checking out this pedal. You know, this is something that I think, even if you still prefer to use a tube amp in the studio, I think this could easily replace your, I mean, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind taking the time to use this to match the tone I get as best as possible that I get out of my Marshall, saving that as a preset, and then just using this on the road and not even taking an amp with me. Just take a couple guitars, this, and go right in the front of house. I'd be happy, you know, and I definitely would have a lot easier time setting up and taking down each night, right? So great pedal. Definitely check it out. For more information on the Enigmatic, all the great products brought to you by Universal Audio, and for all your pro audio needs, do check us out on the web at frontendaudio.com. Thank you.